Culture shock moment in Japan. Huge culture shock moment last night. One of the few things that has really made me stop and think. I don't want to live in this country for the rest of my life. Happened last night. I've been here in Japan for 3.5 years. Guys, by the way, excuse the homeless man, home alone, burglar look here, guys. I'm actually growing my hair out and my scruffy facial hair just for a few days because I'm doing another ASMR barber video where I'm going to be modeling in another video. They liked how the last video did, so I'm doing that this week. So that's why I look a little extra scruffy today. But last night I just got back to the station here at Nakano Station, guys. Secret's out. Nakano Station is where I hang out. Yes, here at Nakano Station. And I was walking across the street. I don't know if you can see it from up here on the platform, but no, you can't. But either way, there's a 7-Eleven, like right down this way. Right down this way, there's a 7-Eleven right across the street from Nakano Station. And I was just walking home with my headphones in, minding my own business, and I hear a scream. I'm like, what the fuck? Ah! Like, stop. And I look over, and standing in front of the 7-Eleven, there is one dude and one girl. And the dude seems to have basically pinned this girl up against the wall of the 7-Eleven, and he's holding her wrist like tight as fuck. I'm walking up to like right where they are, and standing around outside of the 7-Eleven also were like 10, 15 people. This is a Saturday night, so there's people kind of hanging out, drinking, trying to catch the last train, coming home from work, like whatever they're doing. Yes, on a Saturday, people work late here as well. There's like 15 people, I would say like at least five or six grown men, like right there, closer to the situation than I was. But I was, like I said, minding my own business, walking home, listening to my music. I heard the scream. I look up, I see this guy who seems to be in his 40s, scrawny as hell, skinny guy, but like kind of tall, like about my height, about 6 feet tall, but super scrawny. And he's holding this girl who looks to be like in her 20s up against the 7-Eleven wall. And she, as soon as I look at her after I heard the scream, she's got tears in her eyes. She's clearly crying. They stopped talking when I took my headphones out. Not because I took my headphones out, but just like I took my headphones out to like listen to like what they were saying because I was walking up in that area. They stopped talking, and she was just staring at him like in the face. Her eyes were watering. She was crying, and he was like gritting his teeth like this in her face, like super close. And then with both of his hands, he was holding her hands like down and like up against the wall. And then she started like wriggling a little bit, and he's like, "Argh!" And I couldn't understand what he was saying because then he started like saying stuff really angrily. And like men here, when they're angry and they're pissed off, they roll their R's and they say this shit where they're like, and like fucking, I never understand what the fuck they're saying when they talk like that. It's so difficult to understand. So I didn't make out what he was saying, but she's like struggling. He like gets closer in her face and he's yanking her arms around. And at that moment, just as a natural reaction, like I put my headphones in my pocket and I immediately started walking right up to them because I don't know what the situation was. I don't know what the girl did. I don't know what their relationship is. Doesn't matter at all in my book. None of that is part of the question. The only thing that matters is there is a clearly much smaller girl and a taller, stronger man. And the man is imposing his will on her physically. He's yanking her around. He looks like he might hit her. He's grabbing her by the wrists. I mean, it could be a crime happening right in front of my face, and the law doesn't even matter. It's just no one's gonna be hitting someone that is that much smaller than them, yanking them around, physically abusing them in my presence, whether it be a kid, whether it be a small girl. I'm not gonna let that just fly. So anyways, I took my headphones out and I started walking toward them, and the dude like looked at me out of the corner of his eye, and he chilled out for like half a second. I don't even think that he like stopped because he saw me. I just noticed that he looked in my direction, and then I was staying there because I was just looking at him like this, like And I was like, what the fuck is happening? And then I turn around and I look at all of the other people, and every single person is just like down looking at their phones, like peeking over, but like turning around. And then this dude like drags her into the 7-Eleven. He like grabs her arm and goes like, and like starts yanking her into the 7-Eleven. And I was like, oh shit. So I start like following, but I was like, I'm not gonna follow him all the way into the 7-Eleven. I'm just gonna stand outside because you can see from the windows, you can see everything going out. So I stand right by the window and I'm like watching them, and I turn around still, and there are all these men, all these grown adults right there. And the men, even like that, they saw the next phase where the dude yanked her into the 7-Eleven. And as soon as they noticed like it was escalating, they didn't turn with me and be like, yo, we need to stop this. Every single one of the dudes around me like looked even further away, like, oh, that's crazy. Got to mind my own business. I'm not getting involved in that. Like, that's what they were saying in their minds. You could tell they were like, oh shit, that's crazy. Not gonna be my problem. I'm not gonna potentially risk getting involved with the law, ruin my night, because now I have to chase this guy down. Now I have to maybe file a report. Maybe I get in some type of trouble if I try to get involved with this, protect this girl. Maybe he's gonna press charges on me, this guy, whatever it be. It seemed like that's what everybody thought, and they all turned away, women and men, grown men, right next to me. And I was so pissed for like half a second, because I was like, I wanted to be like, what the fuck are all you people doing? Let's help this person. But that didn't matter, so I like continued to watch them from outside of the window, and they like went behind this like counter thing, and I couldn't see him for a second, and then the girl just comes, boom, darting out of the 7-Eleven, like full speed run, a sprint. She runs out and sprints like all the way down this street here, and then all the way down this street, like as far as I can see her, and then she turns the corner, just gets around the corner and dips. And I don't know like what happened to that guy for those like 3-4 seconds, but he wasn't coming out. And then like 3-4 seconds later, she got down the blocks, turned around, or turned the corner and then dipped. Dude came out like fast as fuck, like 3, 4, 5 seconds later. He like looks both ways. I'm just standing there looking at him like, because now I'm like, I'm not gonna chase this guy. Like, I don't, like, what do I do? I mean, like, I don't, at this point, I don't know what to do because it's not in my presence. And then I am actually kind of intruding, getting like too far involved in some business that's not my business, I think. But this dude calls a taxi comes by, he like waves down the first taxi, and then he like points this way, and they just go down this street. And I mean, like, at that point, what do? I don't know. Like, am I supposed to chase them down? At that point, I feel like it was out of my control, no longer my problem. But then I sat there like for a second, and I looked around, and there's like I said, there's still like 10 to 20 people on the corner here, including a bunch of men, and none of them are even at all interested in helping. They're all just like sitting down looking at their phones. And it was so obvious that when they looked up and they saw that it escalated, they turned away even harder. They were like, "Ooh, I'm not getting involved with this." And I had this feeling in my chest where I was just thinking, any grown man, if you are a grown man, okay, if you're a kid, if you're a woman, like whatever, but if you are a grown man and you are right here in the presence of this other tall, grown man yanking around this crying, young, small girl, doesn't matter if it's his daughter, doesn't matter if it's his wife, his girlfriend, his life was clearly not in danger. He wasn't in any physical danger, and he's yanking around looking like he's gonna hit her in the face, and all these men are turned away. Not only just like not really paying attention, like they saw it happen and they're like, yo, I'm good, I'm staying out of that. Any one of those men, your man card is revoked. You are no longer a man. You're a bitch. I'll say it again. If you are a grown man and you stand around within 5 to 10 feet of you, that close proximity, there is a small, helpless girl being bullied around physically, potentially going to be hit right there by a large, taller man, and you do absolutely nothing, you turn away, you have this mindset that I'm not getting involved with that. That's not my problem. You are not a man. You are a bitch. Your role as a man is to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Obviously, did I run in and tackle this dude out of nowhere? No. But I was ready in my mind. If this dude takes a swing on this girl, if this dude does anything crazy, I'm standing right here. That's why I took my headphones out. I got this crazy look in my eyes, and I walked right up next to him. I was like, what the fuck is this guy gonna do? If this dude swings on this girl right now, I gotta tackle this dude. And if I get in trouble because of that, people always say, oh, the conviction rate against foreigners, like, you can be a foreigner and just be trying to help, and you'll still get in trouble. Someone will sue you and you'll get deported. If I get my visa complications because of that, if I get deported because of that, if I have whatever it be, I don't give a fuck. I believe that my job as a man, I believe that your job as a man, if you are a man, is to help the people that cannot help themselves. Small girls like that, women, children, against crazy men like that. So all of these dudes standing around, you are bitches. You have no balls at all. And this is where I think that as much as I love Japanese culture, and I love Japan, of course, Japan has this thing where they're like, don't get involved in business that isn't yours. Leave people alone. Give people space. They always say, like, if someone falls down somewhere or drops some things, in Japan, you maybe won't see people help them up, because then it just, like, it maybe brings more attention to the situation. It makes them look embarrassed, like it makes them more embarrassed. And so it's better to just kind of like mind your own business and let people kind of struggle on their own, because then you bring more attention to it and it kind of gets into this big deal. And okay, I kind of understand that for innocent things, like, yeah, somebody dropped something, or like I've tripped falling up the stairs before, and then someone will come up and be like, hey, are you okay? I'm like, damn it, like, I thought nobody saw that. I didn't want anybody to see that. Now you're bringing more attention to it. Leave me alone. But something like that, where someone who is clearly at a large disadvantage to someone else is being physically abused right in front of you, all that shit goes out the window, in my opinion. I no longer give a fuck. And shame on all of those dudes who sat there and watched that and then turned around and were like, yeah, I'm not getting involved in this. Shame on anyone who does that shit. I was fuming when I left that scene last night, and it kind of reminded me of when I first moved to Japan. I'd only been here for like 6 months, and one of my coworkers at this international school where I was working, she was brand new in Japan. She didn't speak any Japanese at all. She was walking back to the station one day after work, and there's kind of like an alley right next to the station. Anyway, she walked past this dude who seemed to be like passed out with something around his neck. He had like this, she described it as this piece of plastic like wrapped around his neck super, super tight. And she started telling me this because she was crying at work the day after it happened. And I think we actually sent her home. We told her she could go home because she was really, really just totally distraught and mentally fucked up. She said she came across this dude who had this plastic wrapped around his neck, and then she went up to him. He was laying on the ground, and he was in like salaryman clothes. She went up to him and was like touching him, shaking him, and he wouldn't wake up, is what she was saying. And turns out this dude was like probably dead, she figured. And then she was calling to people around who apparently were walking by, and nobody wanted to stop and help her. She said everybody was like walking with their briefcases, all like the salarymen and shit, just walking to the station and didn't want to stop or whatever. They're like, you know, what the fuck, like, I'm going home. I'm ready to go home, like going back to the station here. And nobody would help her apparently. And she didn't speak any Japanese, and it's like, she can help so much less than all of these other people here. She doesn't know what to do. She's brand new in Japan. She doesn't speak the language. Anyway, she ran over to the koban, which is like the little police box, grabbed the police, and then led them back to this guy. And it turns out like he was dead. They don't know like if someone choked him out or he like somehow killed himself, like wrapped this thing around his neck. But this dude did pass away. And I remember she was crying like even more than seeing the dead guy. She just kept going on and on and on about how many people were walking by and didn't even try to stop. She was the only person that stopped. And she was even trying to like grab people, and people were ignoring her and just like walking to the station. I mean, I guess you could kind of say like, okay, well, maybe people think it's just another drunk person passed out, like laying on the ground, because that happens pretty often. You always just see drunk people laying on the ground, and they're probably just drunk and that's it, they're just passed out. But I mean, like, if she's there and she's trying to help this person and she's calling for people and then people are still walking past her, I remember her saying, like, it felt like a nightmare, and anyways, she was having, like, it was tough being there, even listening to her talk about it. And I wasn't even there. She just described it to me, and then I think she might have taken the next day off work or something like that. It was really, really screwed up. But there's like that, and then this thing last night where this clearly like much smaller, younger girl is getting like yanked around by this dude, and people see it happening and then turn away. They're like, oh, not my business. And then this other time where I've talked about this in a video as well, where like at my gym, the coach, who's the only person working at the gym, witnessed this one guy kick this other dude in the head, and it opened up a huge cut on his head, which is normal. That happens in sparring all the time, but it opened up a huge cut. Usually that's like, even if there's a beef, even if there's fighting in the gym, the coach steps in at that point. Like in America, like when I was training Muay Thai and MMA back there at the gym in America, even if there was a fight between people, the coach like lets it play out until like someone gets injured. Then it's like, okay, everybody stop. Take care of this guy, even if he was a dumbass. Take care of this cut. Like, you guys are fucking idiots. Chill out. But like, this coach at the gym, he was the only guy working there, sat there and watched this dude get his head kicked, huge cut on his head, blood spilling out. The guy had to go to the hospital and get stitches, and the coach didn't even once stop, even say like, are you okay? He just sat back and watched it. And I remember thinking, like, is the coach gonna do anything? And the guy's dripping blood on the mats, and the coach was just standing there watching. And then to even rub it in, the next day I went to practice again, and the coach was telling the other guys who weren't there that night, he was like laughing about it and saying, oh my gosh, this guy came in last night and he was being jerky, and then they kicked him in the head and he had to go get stitches at the hospital, and he was just laughing about it. Like, he wasn't like, yeah, this guy was a dumbass, but he had to get stitches, so he stopped and like made sure he was okay and like gave him a bandage. No, like, nobody helped this dude at all. And I remember I was brand new in Japan at that time too, and I didn't really speak much Japanese at all. And I remember just thinking, like, I'm the only one that's gonna help this dude? Like, I don't even speak the language. Like, I ran over to get bandages, like, was trying to help this dude get to the hospital, and there are all these people who live there and speak the language, and everyone's just like, oh, not my problem. And then just continued about their day. And I'm not gonna sit here and say that this is like objectively bad or this is objectively terrible, this aspect of Japan where people just want to mind their own business and not get involved with other people's problems, because cultures are different, people are different. And just for me, this is just something that's not comfortable for me here. Even if something is wrong, even if something's not right, even if something like a girl is being yanked around and physically abused by a large man, even if something is wrong, you don't step in because that's not your business. I disagree with that. Like I said, man, I love Japan for so many reasons. It's great to be here, but I gotta keep it real with the people. I gotta tell people what actually happens here, and there are so many incredible, awesome things that happen here. But I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, and I'm not going to act like everything's perfect. There are tough situations like this that will make you question, like how are there all these men who just watched that shit happen and they didn't have anything to say about it? Like, I don't want to be around any dude who is okay with that shit and backs off and is like, not my business. I don't want anything to do with you. You do not deserve a spot in my life if you are the type of man that can sit there and watch that shit and turn around and be like, oh, not my business. I want strong, brave men and people around me. Men who will protect their loved ones, and even if they're not their loved ones, even if it's your enemy, if it's someone who can't defend themselves, you protect those people. You protect women, you protect children. That's just how it goes in my book. I don't care if it's not my business. I don't care if it's a different culture. Like I said, if I would have gotten in trouble there, like, so fucking be it. Anyways, just another day of my late night thoughts here in Nakano. This is Young James, guys. Thanks for watching. Check out the description. I've got a Discord you can join for $5, or you can just donate if you want to support the channel. Thank you guys so much. All right, take care. Keep an eye out for this ASMR video, guys. I'm finally getting a haircut this week and a shave. All right, peace out, y'all.